Hello again. Now, Parliament's Home Affairs Portfolio Committee is tired of bickering among authorities over what to do with Cape Town's refugees. The committee is planning an oversight visit to assess living conditions in some temporary resettlement sites. It's calling for an exit plan to reintegrate these refugees. Well, let's chat some more about this now with Mosa Chabane. He's from the Home Affairs Portfolio Committee. Mosa, very good morning and thanks for joining us this morning. So what is happening? If you can, I mean, we haven't heard about the refugees in quite some time. What is happening? Where are they at the moment as we are in sort of a level 1 of lockdown? We understand measures were taken during the sort of hard lockdown. Where are they at the moment? What's going on?
No, thanks. Good morning to your viewers and listeners, and thanks for inviting us. We have received a report yesterday by the stakeholders involved in this process, by the city, the Human Rights Commission, the Department, and the United Nations that deals with refugees. And it appears in terms of the progress report, there's no much that has been done in terms of the planning exit. You remember that the 8th of March, we had a meeting as a result of the conduct of some of the foreign nationals that undermine our constitution and the rules of law. So given the period of the COVID-19, less progress has been made, and as you know that there were regulations that has to be implemented. So now that we have received the report and the other emerging issues that are coming out, the committee has resolved that they must conduct an oversight to those camps.
Well, you say you're tired of the bickering. Just give us some idea of what's been happening in that back and forth. What's the bickering about? What are the different points being made or arguments?
Well, I think there's clearly misunderstanding in terms of the roles that they must play, in particular Department of Home Affairs and the City of Cape Town. You'll know that Acting Judge Tulare has made a ruling in terms of the roles that they must play on how they must respond to the challenges that are faced by the refugees in Cape Town. The issue is what is the role that the city must play in relation to what Home Affairs has to play, because their view is that the competency and the jurisdiction in terms of their work lies with the Home Affairs Department. But also Home Affairs indicates that there are certain roles that they must play the city in terms of the bylaws. But as a committee, clearly understand that there are roles that must play by Home Affairs and also the City of Cape Town in terms of their bylaws that governs the process of the council. So we're clear in terms of how we must assist both the stakeholders to resolve this matter. Hence, we've taken upon ourselves to move forward with the oversight just to check and assess the state of the conditions there.
Well, obviously, Mosa, one would assume that, you know, COVID-19, the pandemic, the hard lockdown would be the sort of obvious explanation as to why nothing has been done. Now, do you buy that?
Well, it's not an obvious explanation because we all of us, including yourselves, has to confine ourselves within the regulations in order to curb this pandemic. And I think it's a justifiable reason that there's movement in terms of the exit plan. Remember, we've given them 30 days to respond to this process. And now that they were at level 1, we think our resolve that there must be a movement in terms of the decisions we've taken. One, we've taken a decision of integration and also taken a decision of deportation. But after the process that has to do with the deportation has been concluded.
Oh, and you're also concerned about just the conditions where refugees have been placed as well, and also just the number that seems to be growing. Tell us what you've learned or what you've heard and what you'll be investigating during your visits.
There are two issues that I think must be clear. We're clear as a committee that one is that foreign nationals must abide by the constitution and the rule of law of the country. And I think that all of us, we must, even our citizens of the country, they are subjecting themselves to the law of the country. So they can't undermine the constitution and the rule of law in the country. That's the first point that we're emphasizing, and we're not going to shift to that point. Second is that we've noted that the number that were presented on the 8th of March has been increased. It appears that in terms of the report of the Human Rights Commission, there are other people or foreign nationals who are economically active. What I mean is that they are working, they go there and sleep, and the number is increased. So one of the assessments we're going to engage on is to practically assess those issues and the living conditions, but also to assess the issue of the compliance to the regulations that have been put up next year.
And just a very quick one, Mosa, you know, if I remember correctly, at the time when these refugees were making their case, they were talking about how they were not welcome in those communities anymore. They didn't want to put themselves in the danger of those communities. So I would assume that a large part of the plan has to be talking to the communities themselves. Otherwise, reintegration is definitely not going to work. Whatever plan you have in place, you have to talk to the actual people that they're going to have to live with.
If you look around the country, if you go far north in a village called Majimbo in Musina, if you go to a village somewhere in Guyana, you go somewhere in Mpumalanga and has a view. You have foreign nationals or brothers and sisters who have been there for some time, have been integrated to their communities, comply with the bylaws of the municipalities where they reside, they respect the Constitution of the Republic. So this as a narrative that suggests that they are not welcome in the communities. No, it's not true. I mean, in terms of our assessment, is that all of us, white, African, black, were welcome in terms of in our communities integrated. So we have made our assessment that the posture they are taking in terms of undermining the Constitution of the Republic, and they suggest that they are not welcome, and they want to create this narrative that this xenophobic conduct within our communities. That, I think, is not true. The issue is that they have to respect the Constitution of the Republic. They must be integrated in our communities, or there must be a process of deportation. You know that these communities, they want us to take them to another country of their choice. So they can't dictate on where they must be taken to. Our point of departure is that they must be integrated or deported to the country of origin after the process has been concluded.